All right, Karrine, what's good?
Hey Vlad, I'm back.
You're back after your whirlwind book tour.
Yeah, well the first part of it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the book is out.
Yeah, Vindicated came out June 2nd. Actually, people who pre-order began getting it in May,
Okay,
middle of May, yeah.
okay. So how did this book do compared to your other books?
I don't know. I don't check sales. Someone taught me a long time ago. It was Bill Maher actually taught me a very long time ago. To just get all your money up front and don't worry about sales.
Hmm.
So I never know what any of the books have done. I don't know what Confessions has done. I mean, I know, of course, we've done over 1 million, but I don't have a number. I don't know what any of my books have done, except for the ones that I have self published, because, of course, I get those numbers every day.
Okay, but this last book is self-published or no?
No, this one is with a publishing partner.
Okay,
So I have no idea what the sales for June are, and I won't ask. Doesn't matter.
okay. But you have a feel in terms of the effect of your books.
Yes.
So in terms of the internet and being on tour and so forth, like what kind of feel do you get for this last
Well,
book?
I know the ratings are great. I know that, like Amazon, for instance, our ranking is our sales ranking, which is what we look at sometimes versus actual sales. Our sales ranking is really good. I know we're ranking 4.5, 5 stars across the board. The feedback from people who have read it has been phenomenal because it touches a chord with women, especially. It being primarily about domestic violence and just kind of being stuck in a bad relationship, which a lot of us have been.
Hmm.
And I think Vindicated humanized me a lot. I think it's the first book I've written that was the absolute most honest. Without I didn't feed into what other people wanted me to write, or not even the publisher. I mean, I think they might have been a little disappointed actually because I didn't write what they wanted me to write. I just did what I wanted.
Okay. Now the your ex-husband,
Mhm.
who you allegedly wrote the book about,
Allegedly.
allegedly, was there any sort of communication after the book came out?
No, my ex-husband hasn't. Well, he can't. Oh, he can't. He doesn't know where I am or how to find me. I'm sure he could find other people that might know me or whatever, but he has no direct tie to me. And again, the way that I wrote Vindicated was important because I changed the names of all the private people, which is something we do in all the books.
Hmm.
And in that person, even though he's a public person, because I wanted him to be able to, in the event that he got upset, he would have to admit why he's upset. Do you understand? And so, in order for him to say anything to me or anyone else, he'd have to admit that it sounds a lot like him. So, that's the only reason why his name is changed.
Okay. And you guys haven't talked or
No, we haven't talked. We,
communicated
we
or
hadn't spoken before that. We don't talk. He's not part of my life. I know he tried to contact me before Vindicated came out through a friend, a columnist, journalist friend of mine, and that friend wouldn't give him my information. I'm just unreachable to him as I am to a lot of people these days.
okay, so we were actually supposed to have an interview like about a week or so ago, and you had to cancel last minute,
Mm-hmm.
and we spoke about it privately. So none of this information has come out, but we can actually talk about it now that we're actually on camera. So why did you cancel last weekend?
I canceled our last. I think I might have canceled on you twice. First, I was really sick. I've been very public about my battle with chronic and severe anemia since getting off tour, and my 3 week bed rest, and all that was happening because while I was on tour, I was actually pregnant, and I saw that there were rumors that I was pregnant online. I hadn't said anything because it was just too early, you know, and not just because it was too early. It's just personal stuff. So by the time I got off tour, in the middle of bed rest, we lost the baby, and so I just got off of bed rest a week ago, and this is actually just my second day out of bed. So I'm still battling with the anemia; it's still a thing. So I'm now dealing with iron transfusions, iron tonics, They took me off the iron pills because they weren't working. And still dealing like with the loss. And it's really like miscarriage is like, I don't know, it's really weird because like everyone is so happy, like before, right? So there's like, and then there's grandparents and things, so like everyone's happy. There's a whole family that's happy. And I was on tour and I was working so hard. And it was my first time traveling in years. I hadn't traveled. And I was sick while I was on tour. So you'll see, like, I can look through my Instagram and see all these pictures I posted, me smiling, but I'm like in pain the whole time, And and everybody just wants to like push you. But there's a lot of things I couldn't do. So like, for instance, at Essence Fest, like anybody will tell you, I didn't go to any concerts. I didn't go to any parties. I didn't go to any extracurricular activities. And everyone kept asking like where I was and why I wasn't coming out. But I was really sick and I was pregnant and nobody knew. I recently did, while I was on tour in Atlanta, I did an interview with Bossip and they had, beer pong, set up for me. And I didn't play. And I just told them I didn't drink.
Which isn't true.
Which isn't true because everybody knows I love beer.
Right.
I love beers and burgers and that's like my thing. So throughout the tour, I'm having to keep saying like, no, I don't drink or, oh, I'm so tired and I can't go out. But it was just because number one, I was pregnant, which is difficult by itself. But then I was also struggling with the severe and chronic anemia. So it had gotten to the point where I was just passing out places, having to crawl to the bathroom, not being able to walk, not being able to leave the house, and just being bedridden. So we suffered that loss, and that's why I had to cancel. I stayed in bed for another week and a half. Bed rest officially ended, but I stayed in bed for another 5 days because it was just hard getting acclimated to just walking around. Like I would just feel weird. And then in the aftermath of a miscarriage, the actual event itself is like really traumatizing. But then afterward, it's really weird because your body doesn't know that you're not pregnant anymore. So like I still have like the symptoms and stuff. So it's really like heartbreaking every day. Like you wake up and you still have morning sickness and your breasts are still engorged and they're still hurting and you still have like these symptoms that take a while, to dissipate. So I'm in that stage now where I'm just like every morning waking up feeling pregnant but not being pregnant.
How many weeks were you when you ended up having
I was at the bottom of my 3rd month. So I was almost at the end of my first trimester.
Okay, yeah, that's well into the pregnancy. Have you had a miscarriage before? Your first one?
Yes. With my son, who's almost 18, I almost had a miscarriage. I've always been anemic. So anemia is just something I deal with every single day.
Okay, and that's when you don't have enough red blood cells?
Yeah, so you have a lack of red blood cells, which causes a lack of oxygen, which is what makes you faint and dizzy and weak and lethargic and stuff. Every time I've been pregnant, the anemia, of course, the baby takes so much. This time, though, it was like aggressive. So the anemia just got worse. The doctors will tell you that your iron level is supposed to be, I believe, at a 12, no lower than a 12. And mine had dipped as far down as a 4 or a 3. And it's just life-threatening. It's life-threatening to everybody.
So did you actually you got a miscarriage or they had to actually end the pregnancy because of your health?
No, I had a miscarriage.
You had a miscarriage?
In my house.
Oh, wow. So the blood and everything else like that.
And the feeling, like, for people who like, for women who it's happened to, like, you never forget the feeling of it coming out of that pregnancy. Like, the pregnancy had been ended probably like a day before. And I kind of knew something had gone wrong because I felt violently ill the day before, more than usual. There was just this the morning sickness all of a sudden turned into like 24 hours of just heaving and just being really, really, really sick. Water started tasting really funny to me. Water would make me nauseous. Like everything just made me really sick. It was just this one day where everything made me violently sick. And I was already sick on top of that. But it was just something about that day where everything was just bad. Everything. And it just felt like she just wasn't there anymore. And then the next day,
She?
that was just what I believed it was, a girl. So
Okay.
I don't like to say it because it's just so dehumanizing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then there's just a moment where she just comes out. And that's what happened to me. And then I went to the hospital. So, yeah, and you just never forget that feeling. It's just a feel. It's just like a. It's this is like disgusting. It's like it's like really heartbreaking. And you know, and having that moment like in the toilet is really hard because then you don't know what to do. You're like, I don't like you don't know if you should flush or. It's just like the worst shit ever. So we're just still dealing with that.
How did your husband take the news?
You know, men are different. You know, you guys, it's hard for me with that because like on one hand, I think that in the face of like tragedy, you guys have to be so strong, you know? So I understand his strength. But then at the same time, it angers me because it's like sometimes we want you guys to not be so strong. So it's hard for me because he won't talk about it. I can't get him to talk about it. You know, it's just a lot of support, you know, and a lot of support for me, but I can't get him to talk about it. So I just hope that eventually he'll be able to discuss it with me. But it's still very, 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 very fresh, you know? And
Does he have kids?
No.
Okay, so this would have been his first.
You know, but that's what happened.
In our previous interview, we had talked about you having an ongoing relationship with Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are going to ask whether this was your husband's baby or Wayne's baby.
I was gonna say, how do we go from miscarriage to Lil Wayne? No, this is the thing. I haven't seen Wayne since 2014.
Okay.
And I've said that. Like the last time I saw him was literally 2014.
Yeah.
We were halfway through 2015.
So there's no possible way.
No, I haven't seen him since 2014.
Yeah.
And when I saw him in 2014, I hadn't seen him for probably 4 months before that. I probably only saw him twice in 2014. And we don't have an ongoing relationship. We have a friendship. And at this stage and for months we haven't really spoken, just because it's just inappropriate, you know, at this stage in my life and in my relationship. It's just inappropriate, you know. So and I know people grabbed onto that soundbite and kind of ran with it because that's the way it used to be, and it was like that for a long time. But things change and people change. You know, and the last time I saw Wayne last year, I remember walking out of his house without saying goodbye. I don't know, he was in another room doing something, his back was turned, and I just walked out the house because I knew it would be the last time that I saw him. I remember him being upset about that. I remember him texting me and calling me upset that I hadn't said goodbye, but it was just one of those days where you just know, you know, like, yeah, we did this already, you know? And I walked out and I never said goodbye.
So you feel that relationship is done?
I think that my
That
relationship,
friendship is done?
yeah, no, I mean, I will always be Wayne's friend. Like if Wayne really seriously needed to talk to me about anything, he could always talk to me. That line of communication is always open. We still have mutual friends. He knows how to contact me. Especially now, I think in his life where things are kind of weird,
Aren't they?
yeah,
That's one way to describe it.
things are a little weird. I worry about him. I do. I just worry about his safety, and I worry about where he is emotionally and mentally. And a lot of things have been said and have come out that are really worrisome. So he knows, and he's gotten the message that if you need me, like for real, you can call me. I'm not going to abandon. I'm just not, because if something happened to him and I wasn't available, I'd be upset. You know what I mean? But other than that, our relationship is over as it was, I think we're probably both in a space where it's time to evolve in a lot of different ways, not just personally, but also professionally and just as humans. I mean, Wayne is 30 something years old too. Like everybody's grown.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not 20 something anymore. So
Sure. I remember one of the things that kind of stood out to me in your first book when I read it was that you said that most of these artists aren't really that talented. They just got lucky and got put into a certain position.
did I say that?
Something like that.
I'm
You
probably
may
meant
you
it.
may have said rappers.
I probably meant it at the time. I mean, a lot of people aren't that talented. There's more than talent. It's kind of like, let's take it back to the conversation we had earlier about the Drake and Meek situation, right? How Meek's response wasn't terrible, but everyone was like, oh, it's terrible. There, it's like people see what they want to see, how they want to see it. Drake looks better. He just looks, the imagery is just better. So we're just going to say he's the better one because it looks better. Same thing with artists. That's why you have packaging. That's why you have someone coming in telling you how to wear your hair and what to wear and gain weight, lose weight, get a tan, do this, do that, because the packaging matters a lot of times more than the actual talent. And a lot of people aren't really talented. That goes for singers too. There are a lot of singers I've been in the studio with. I have a group of friends who are songwriters who write songs for major acts like Gaga and Britney and Taylor.
Yeah.
They write those songs. And I'm in the studio with them watching them write songs. And I'm watching these artists come in and sing these songs terribly. And then I'm watching these people fix it because they're not that talented, but the packaging is good.
Oh yeah, no. My first office, the first VladTV office, was in a studio in New York, and I saw just black magic happen in that studio with auto tune and like you would hear the person singing it, and you're like, okay, this is like the worst thing I've ever heard. And then you'd see the engineer and the producer tinker with it for 2-3 days, and then after that you're like, this can't be the same thing that I just heard. Like this actually sounds pretty good. Yeah,
and that goes back even back to the Drake and Meek thing about who's writing what songs and who's got a ghostwrite and all these things that hip hop cares about that the rest of the world doesn't care about. Because there's not one artist alive that writes every single thing all the time constantly, because you don't have fucking time. And so especially when it comes to like the track that came out, right? The reference track. Everyone has reference tracks. An artist will write something, leave it because he doesn't have time. Go do something else. Come back in a day or two and someone's laid down the reference track to show them how that song can fit on top of that beat. And then they go in there and they do it their own way, a little better, put their twist on it. But there's, no man is an island, and it takes a village to create an album. So there's all this packaging that goes in behind the scenes. The thing with consumers is that they don't know all of that. They don't see all of that. It's kind of like when you go to a movie, everyone leaves when the credits start, except for the people who are in the business. And you can, here in LA, you see it a lot. The people who are sitting when the credits are rolling, they're in the business. They're reading the credits. They want to know who the prop master is. They want to know who did the boom. They want to know who did the lighting.
Yeah.
The consumer doesn't care about that. They just want to see the show. And so when all of that came out, I was thinking, why is everyone saying this man? First of all, Drake not only wrote, I'm sure, his own stuff to a degree, whatever that degree is. I've never been in the studio with him, but I know that he was writing stuff for Wayne as well. You know what I mean? Because Wayne was looking to change something. I know that he was rewriting things. I know Wayne told me that he was teaching him how to tell better stories, how to ride the beat differently. Because Wayne always rides the beat a certain way, while Drake rides it another way. So, you know, the student was becoming the teacher and kind of teaching him how to do something different because, you know, things have gotten stagnated for a while. A lot of artists help each other out that way. They write things for each other. They collaborate on things, you know, and then they teach each other different flows. We've seen different artists switch their flows up in different songs, especially, remember when Southern rap got really, really popular, you would see sometimes an East Coast rapper would switch to a Southern flow.
Double time.
Yeah, just to kind of create that buzz.
So this is interesting. And we've talked about this off camera before. So Drake has helped Wayne write some of his stuff. Because I know they've collaborated a lot, but you always assume that, okay, we're working together, but these are my verses. I'm writing my own verses, and Wayne's going to write his verses. And
no, Wayne told me that Drake had written some things for him, and I was in the studio with Wayne listening to something that Drake had written, because Wayne can't write like that, and he'll be honest about it. He only writes a certain way.
So was Drake actually doing like a reference track for him, or was he just writing it down?
No, it was already written, and by the time I got to the studio, Wayne had already recorded it. So I don't know whether there was a reference. There probably was a reference. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But by the time I had gotten to the studio, Wayne had already recorded what Drake had written for him, and it might have just been a verse or whatever on I don't know whose song it was.
But it wasn't a song that they did together.
I don't
Single?
know. I don't know. I didn't hear the finished product.
Okay.
But I remember having the conversation with Wayne about how, you know, and he admitted, I don't know how to tell stories. He said, I just, you know, the jokes that people make, just pussy and weed, and that's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, is there a song where Wayne doesn't talk about sex? I don't know if that actually exists.
I mean, there's Pussy Money Weed. That's the name of a song. It's called Pussy Money Weed.
Right.
That's the name of it.
I mean, I remember like Nicki Minaj had made a comment, like, I don't even know if Wayne has a song that doesn't include sex. And
everything has sex. Everything has pussy, money, and weed in it.
Right.
That's it.
You're right. And there's not a lot of stories.
And it's not, So he was very honest, and he says, I don't write that way. I don't know how. So Drake was just kind of showing him how to take his ideas and turn them into a story, and to make that story come back around. So, and that's a skill. That's a storytelling skill. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And so there was a particular song that Drake had written and or helped him write that would help him kind of do that. And I remember him saying that Drake was also showing him how to ride the beat different. Something like, you know, on top of the beat versus behind the beat, or whatever, where, you know, whatever that phrasing was, where Wayne was like, yeah, I always do it this way, but he does it this way. So he's just showing me how to do it another way. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was really big of him to allow his student to teach him.
Right. I know Drake really looks up to Wayne.
Absolutely. And they look up to each other. You know, Wayne, when he talked about Drake with me, like he just really respected what he did and how he did it in his process, especially as Wayne has gotten older. I know that he felt like the old man. He would call himself like the old man, you know, because he felt old and dated.
Well, I think Wayne even said it in an interview that, and this was a while ago, like 3-4 years ago, where he said that he felt that Drake was already a bigger star than him.
Yeah, and he knows that. He knows it. And I think, you know, that may be a little hard. I think that it's difficult for your, the person you brought in to be better than you. Drake's better today than Wayne is today. To me. Today.
I mean, it depends how you look at it. I mean, I remember asking Akon the same question with T-Pain. Because Akon brought in T-Pain, and I said, depending on how you look at it, I mean, it was at a particular time.
At that moment, right?
At that moment, I say some people would say that this artist that you brought in, T-Pain, is actually bigger than Akon right now. He said, I agree. I said, he said, that was my point. He's like, I'm not trying to sit there and have to sing into my 60s and 70s.
Akon definitely has no interest in, He's 40-something years old. And I know for a fact he had no interest in carrying on his music thing longer than he did. And so it's important to have replacements. I think that's the difference between Khan and his artist versus Wayne and his. Wayne still wants to keep going.
Yeah.
And I really wish he would stop. Not because he can't or he shouldn't. I just feel like it's hard when you brought in artists that are so dope, and so new and so fresh and so young. I feel like Wayne as an artist, it's just me as a fan, is beaten down and tired right now. There's a lot of other things happening. And I think that it reflects in the music. He dropped that thing on Tidal and nobody cared. It wasn't, for the first time, Wayne wasn't trending.
You're right. Actually, I didn't really think about it that way. And I think part of the reason that happened was because it was on Tidal.
On Tidal. But so was the Rihanna thing. Like, Rihanna dropped her video. People are dropping things on Tidal that are making noise, but being on Tidal doesn't help if it's a
smaller install base.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I thought that was a bad move. I think he was better off just dropping it for free somewhere. I know why he did it, but and Baby still, I guess, is suing.
Yeah. So
you didn't get away with anything or whatever, but still no one cared. I mean, if you wanted to, you could have joined Tidal for free, got the free download, and then quit Tidal and then talked about it. There was a time when people would kill their mother to get to a Wayne download, and that time has passed. And so right now, I feel like the teacher, the student has become the teacher, the master actually for right now in this moment, and I wish that Wayne would just be the guy, you know what I mean, that brought this young person in.
How did you feel when you heard about the bus shooting?
I was afraid. I was terrified for Wayne. Of course. I'm terrified. I'm just terrified that something's going to happen to him. And so that's why, I made a point for him to get the message that if he needed me, he could call me. Like, for real. Like, no matter what's going on, I don't want nothing to happen to you. Ever. Like, ever. Ever. So it terrified me. It still terrifies me.
You know Wayne very well. You also know Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat. Mm-hmm. When you heard about the rumors about Baby somehow being involved in the shooting, and I think it recently came out, the guy who did the shooting feels that Baby should be charged as well. I don't know if you heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
That was recently announced. From your point of view, from the outside looking in without any evidence or whatever else, do you feel that could possibly be true at all?
Gosh, that Baby ordered some sort of hit to take out Wayne and all that.
Because Baby actually, he denied it. Angie Martinez interviewed Baby and asked him point blank about that. He clearly denied it.
Yeah.
But from your point of view, knowing their relationship.
Listen, I know Baby in a completely different way. I've never seen tough guy Baby. Ever. I've never seen that person. The Baby I've always seen has been and was and always has been to me very sweet, very humble. Maybe that's the wrong word. Very
Number one center.
I don't think that's the right word. But very polite. He's very yes ma'am, no ma'am. Very Southern, very New Orleans. And I've never seen that side of him. What I know for sure is that this is more than business. This is personal, and it's not like a regular business deal. I don't know who signed what contract in blood. I don't know what happened, but it seems like somebody sold their soul to the devil. And it's different than any other business deal that we've probably ever seen. A contract is a contract, but you can get out of a contract. Really, we all know that anyone who's ever signed any deal knows there's a way out of every deal, no matter how big. And the fact that this particular deal is just so hard to get out of. It's just, what did you sign it with? You know what I mean? Like, was the devil present when you did it? Is there a firstborn that was given up? Is this, what don't we know? I think there's secrets involved. I think there's things that people don't want to get out. I think there's just a lot more than business involved. And when things are this personal, they get very dangerous with some people. Well, I think with anybody. I think there's just different levels of danger,
Yeah.
you know. So it concerns me knowing how personal this is.
Being around Wayne so much, do you feel that Wayne and Baby have a father-son type relationship, or is that just kind of played up a little bit?
I think that there is a father-son relationship. I think it's kind of like how a pimp would want you to call him daddy. I think it's very psychological. I think it's deeper than that. I think it's very, I think Baby is a great pimp. I think Baby understands psychology of the human being and how to make someone feel indebted to him forever. I think that, I think Baby's super smart in that way, you know, but Hitler was also very smart in that way, in convincing people that something wrong was very right. I think that some of the most dangerous people are very charismatic. And we've seen that in history throughout time. I think psychology is a serious thing. You know, the brain only reacts a certain number of ways. Everyone thinks they're so different. Everyone thinks they're so untouchable. But I always tell people this: psychology is a study, which means that the brain can be studied, which tells us that it's not very variable, that there's only a certain number of ways it works. That's why it can be studied. I think once you figure out how a person or how people operate, it's very easy to manipulate and know what they're going to do. If I do this, you're going to do that. It's very simple. I think Baby has mastered manipulation. I think a lot of us have mastered, I know I have, mastered the art of manipulation and the art of war and the art of power and all those things that it takes to be a shrewd business person and to get shit done. That's also a very dangerous trait, however, because those of us who know how people operate can counterattack better than anybody else and make moves that you won't see coming. Baby's not stupid. Wayne's not either. But I think Baby is a seasoned pro at this.
Well, Baby is older.
Yeah, Baby is older, and he started this thing, you know? He started it.
Baby is 46.
Baby is 46?
46 years old, born in 69.
Christ! You know what? When I was hanging out with people, I didn't realize how old everybody was. Because now I'm 30, I'll be 37 in a couple of weeks. I didn't realize, I'm thinking everybody's my age, but Baby's like, yeah, Baby's almost 50.
Almost 50.
But yeah, I think you know, and I use the word pimp in a way like, you know, it's how you break someone down. You got to break him down, then build him back up. And a pimp will always have you call him daddy. I mean, that's just what he does. And it's that same kind of pimp hole mentality.
Well, I mean, a lot of people talk bad about Baby, but if you take one step back, the level of success that Birdman has had over the course of his career is unparalleled, next to maybe Jay-Z. If you think about how consistently he's been able to succeed in the music game, with essentially everybody leaving over and over again, you know, everyone who people felt was the reason why Cash Money exists left over and over again, and yet he still managed to maintain a very high level of success the entire time.
Baby maintained a high level of success because of Wayne. Everybody left.
Not initially.
Yeah, but as you said, everybody left. So obtaining and retaining are two different things. Wayne carried that label on his back all this time. And Baby has said it. He said it in the music. He said it in interviews that, you know, like Baby said in a song that, you know, Wayne had the game and the fame mastermind. I could start giving you lyrics. I'm a scholar when it comes to this group of people and the music. So Baby has always said that. Wayne figured it out a long time ago. And so when everyone left for whatever reasons, personal, professional, otherwise, you know, they hoisted this thing on top of Wayne's back and Wayne carried it. carried it up until Nicki and Drake came along. And that's a long way to go. Now, for that to be happening and for you to only be getting a very small amount of money per record, or, you know, with Baby having the first 11 songs of the record or whatever it is, Wayne gave me the number some time ago and I forgot what it was, but it was some terrible number.
Wait, so Wayne said what? Sort of?
When Wayne explained to me how it's set up, Baby gets most of the record. So for instance, this is only a for instance, let's say the album has 20 songs. 11 of those songs, for instance, belong to Baby. So in the way he put it to me, he was just ready to go because he wanted to be, number one, more creative. He felt stifled, and the business is lopsided. And it's like that for a lot of people. It's not just him. It's like that. If some of these new artists really understood their contracts, they would understand how lopsided their deals are. So like a lot of artists, his deal is just lopsided. And that's how he expressed it to me. So I had always understood that. He said that to me probably in 2014.
Okay. He wasn't happy with his deal.
No, he's not happy. He was, when I spoke to him, he wasn't happy with any of it. I mean, he's probably been unhappy for a very long time.
Well, what about Nicki and Drake?
No idea about Nicki and Drake.
Are they signed to Wayne or are they signed to Baby?
It's the same thing, isn't it? Because you're signed to Wayne, but Wayne's signed to Baby.
Well, but you could potentially have different companies. I mean, I have no idea how it's worked out.
If you look, you would have to look and see, if you Wikipedia Drake, who's eating off of his albums. So you probably see Young Money then Cash Money.
Right. Well, I know that Baby has a piece of
Everything.
Drake.
Yeah, like Baby said, they're not. What did he say during the Angie Martinez?
They're not going anywhere.
And he said that with the way he said it, it was kind of scary. I mean, he might as well have done this afterward. Like, it just seemed.
Hand rub.
He might as well.
Playboy. They ain't going nowhere. Playboy.
Rub hands like Birdman. He might as well have done this and this. And it just seemed very, like, ominous. Like, you know, trust me, they ain't going nowhere. I'm like, you know, versus other people who say, hey, listen, if you want to leave, you can go.
He's not saying that.
He's not saying that. He's like,
well, but if he has a contract, then they aren't going anywhere unless
that's not true. You can get out of any contract.
Well, you could buy your way out of a contract.
Yeah, and they can afford to buy their way out of a normal contract. We don't know what kind of contract they have. What kind of contract does Wayne have? What does this look like? How can we see it? This is good. I'm telling you, it's in blood. I'm telling you, it's written in human blood.
Well, I can tell you that my lawyer, Brian Kaplan, has sued Cash Money at least 3 times that I know of.
Really?
And that's just one lawyer. This is not the world's biggest lawyer.
Yeah.
This is not, this is not Johnny Cochran. This is a regular New York lawyer that I know, who I believe helped Wendy Day get her money when she set up their deal and made them millionaires, or made Baby and Slim millionaires. He sued him over playing skills, not getting paid for Got Money. He sued, I believe, for Jim Johnson for Candy Shop, and I'm sure there's a few others that I'm not remembering, but this is just one lawyer that has consistently sued Baby over and over again. I know that Turk just worked out some details over his lawsuit with Baby. Granted, when you get to a certain level of business, you get sued. I've gone through, I've gone through people trying to sue me as well. I understand, but the number of lawsuits with Cash Money just seems abnormally high.
Yes, I agree. I mean, there's something fishy in the state of Denmark. There's something where there's smoke, there's fire. I really just want, Wayne to be able to leave alive and in peace. I think everyone deserves artistic freedom. And I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. And if someone didn't want to be with me that badly, I would just have to let them go because I don't need the headache. So, but again, it's personal. It's not business.
Did you hear about the drink throwing incident?
Oh yeah, when Wayne was on stage and allegedly
Allegedly.
baby threw a drink. I thought that was cute. It's very scratch your eyes out, very,
It's like a girl fight almost.
very girl
I'll drink
fight.
at you.
It's very girl fight. It was super cute. Emotions, man. I mean, people are emotional and, again, personal, man. It's very personal. And who knows why it's this personal? I mean, of course, they've known each other forever, but I just feel like there's something else. Something very sadistic and strange about it.
How did you feel about the whole kissing thing?
When Baby and Wayne kiss?
Yeah. There was the photo that came out. There was also a video on the BET's Rap Basement, where Baby goes around kissing everyone. And I talked to Turk about it. In the mouth? I talked to Turk about it. He said, yeah, that was something. It was like a mafia thing. He said it wasn't a romantic thing at all, but he said this was something that was done during that time.
The mafia, dude. Listen, I'm a mother of a man, okay? Nobody kisses my baby in the mouth but me. I don't even want his father kissing him in the mouth. Don't kiss my baby in the mouth. I'm honestly, listen, to each his own. To each his own. I've never seen, I don't think listen, I would have to call someone in the mafia to verify this, but I just believe they do a little cheek, and then get it over with, or I don't know. But no one there is in the mafia. Okay. Listen, I don't want anybody kissing my baby in the mouth.
Baby, I remember did an interview with in the UK, and he was asked about that. He said, "That's my son. I love him. I'll kill for him. I die for him."
So I'm gonna kiss him in the mouth.
Kiss him in the mouth.
And they're like lingering, like wet kisses though. Like everyone licks their lips before they kiss each other. It's not even like
Do they?
I don't know. It just seems very personal. Like we've seen mafia kisses. We've seen them. Even when Fredo was about to get killed,
right,
and there was that lingering kiss, it was still a very hard,
yeah,
like, oh, you're dead to me. These kisses are soft and wet.
Right.
Listen, I personally don't want to see two men who are not homosexual kissing each other in the mouth. If you are homosexual, continue to kiss each other in the mouth. I think it works out great for homosexuals, but I personally don't want to see that in that way, especially when it's a tribal thing. I don't want to see one guy going around kissing all of the men he's associated with in the mouth, and then them telling me it's just, I just don't want to see that. Now, if you guys are homosexual, it makes complete sense to me. But other than that, I don't find that attractive at all, and I find it very questionable and just very strange to me. Again, I'm raising a young man. My son is not a homosexual man. Thus far, as far as we know, I've been checking his porn on his history on his computer, and so far it's all straight porn. So, but I don't want anyone kissing my son on the mouth. It's too strange for me. Relatives, your father, I don't want any man kissing my son on the mouth. That's how I feel.
Right. So if Baby leaned in to kiss your son, you
no, dude, first of all, Baby's getting nowhere near my son. Okay? Let's just not even pretend. Let's not even go that far. That's just not, now, you know what? You had one job, Vlad. Don't go too far. That's all. You had one job. Okay? You took it too damn far.
Shock value. That's what I do. According to a website called Famulous.
Never heard of him.
It said that Karrine Steffans says that she saw Christina Milian having sex with rappers for record deals.
It's not what I said.
No? Okay.
It's not what I said at all.
Yeah, and then when you go, and that's the thing, when you go to this article, it says not found. So
yeah,
I think it ended up getting taken down.
Yeah, they took that down, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's not what I said.
It's not what you said.
First of all, I've never seen anybody having sex like in person. I've never seen anybody have sex.
Right.
Except myself.
So it was a mirror.
In the mirror, yes.
Right.
We love that. That's our favorite.
So was this based on another interview that you did where you said something somewhat related to this, or?
I didn't say anything related to any of that. It was from the Boss Up interview actually.
Okay.
And I didn't finish my sentence. It just allowed other people to finish the sentence for me. Actually, I finished it, but I finished it later because someone asked me to finish the sentence and I said money, checks, coins. That's what I said.
So you run into Christina Milian at various rappers' homes.
Well, I've seen her. I've seen her around. Just like, listen, the first time I saw that girl was when she was with Ja. Remember they did the Every Little Thing That You Do video? I was in that video. Okay. So of course she was on set. Before that, after that, she was at the Murder Inc. house a lot, which is in Encino. So the first time I think I'd really seen her was at the house with him a while before the video. And then after, she was just around a lot during that time.
Okay.
And I believe she wanted to sign with them or something was happening with that. And whether it happened or not, I'm not sure. The first time I saw that girl with Wayne was in 2012. So that's why the whole made up kind of beef, like I've known about her since 2012 with him. I was there at the Cash Money or the YMCMB Grammy party in LA in 2012 in the VIP with them. So when I walked in, I saw them both together and I can tell from then that they were in a thing. Okay. And I knew what would happen next is that she would get signed because that's kind of the pattern.
Wayne signs women.
I'm not going to say whose pattern it is, but there's a pattern. So
okay, so hold on.
There's a pattern. People get together sometimes in a relationship and then someone gets either a song signed, a single. There's a pattern and it happens with a lot of people.
Okay.
Right?
Can you give me some other examples?
Of what?
Of people getting together and some business popping off in the music industry.
I mean, it just happens all the time. I mean, there are a lot of times when men and women, like they date and then they end up working together.
Right.
Singers will be, working or get signed to or do a song with someone they are dating or seeing. It happens all the time.
Okay.
Right?
There's a term in hip hop called fucking for tracks. You've heard that before?
I have.
I'm not saying or
I'm
implying.
not saying or implying either.
Implying anything about Christina Milian.
Exactly. Can we just say that it exists?
Have you personally, and I'm not going to ask you to name any names, have you seen women just literally fucking for tracks?
I have.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
So a girl will basically say, I will give you some pussy if you produce my record.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I've been around a lot of people. I've been around a lot of people for a lot of years, and I'm privy to a lot of information, okay? And this is the thing that people don't really focus on is that I've had relationships with people. I've never had a one-night stand. I've never been the in and out girl. My relationships have gone on for years, 7, 8, 9, 10 years with people, okay? I'm allowed in their homes. I meet their parents. Sometimes I meet their children. I know people, and men tell me everything because I'm the kind of girl you just tell everything to because I'm super cool, right? So, and I've been in the studio a lot, just chilling, minding my business, and I'll see and hear things. I'm not going to name names because it's just not the right thing to do, but it's very, very, it happens all the time. Women will get close to someone, get into a relationship with that person, and then there is a song, then there's a feature, then maybe there's even, a signing, like, oh, now I'm signed to his label. It happens all the time. I shouldn't say a lot. There's not a lot of women in this particular industry to point out right now anymore, but there are women who you'll look at them and I can tell you, okay, this is how you got that deal. This is why you're even in that relationship with that person. This is how this whole thing started. When you got into a relationship with that person, it was because you were looking out for your career, because you had no career, because you were looking to align yourself with someone who would give you a career. Mm-hmm. And so this is why you did this. I've seen it happen. So, and I've seen it happen. Sometimes there's a person who does it a lot, whether it's a producer, a writer, an artist, whether it's a television executive that can help you get your own show. It happens.
Well, to be fair, being in the kind of business, and I'm a media company as well. And I know other owners of media companies and record labels and so forth. I think very few really successful men will risk their core business to put on someone they're having sex with.
No, it's not someone you're having sex with. It's someone that you care about. I don't think these are just willy-nilly relationships. There are girls who are, like you said, fucking for tracks, and they get fucked and then the tracks don't show up the next day. But then there are women who enter into relationships with people based on the alignment. And that's kind of how it works. I mean, I do the same thing. We align ourselves with people who can put us in a certain position.
Right. But
You know what I mean?
at a certain level, you are not going to lose your position. And if you either have a very high executive position in a company or it's your company, you are not going to mess that up most times for someone that you're in a romantic relationship with.
But a
whether
lot of
it's
men do.
casual or whether it's serious.
But a lot of men do, Vlad.
You think
we
so?
see it all the time. We see men even getting married to people who later take their whole company and run away with it. Like, we see this all the time. So women are very persuasive, and the heart wants what it wants, even and especially when it's wrong. And so we see people getting into relationships and then sometimes even getting together and being married. And then we see the woman breaking off and taking half the company. You're like, why'd you risk your whole company for this? Because you felt a certain way, because you thought it was genuine, because you thought she loved you, because you thought you were in love, but she the whole time had her eyes on your money the whole time, or some of the time, or maybe just toward the end when things got bad. But it happens all the time. It's not like it's strange. Men risk everything for women all the time. It's nice to know that you wouldn't, though.
Well, I mean, ultimately, for example, you talk about like a TV show or a major, a major label record deal and so forth. Like, TV shows are so expensive to put out. And if you just kind of push through a TV show that everyone else around you is saying is not going to work, but you're romantically involved with this person, and it comes out and it flops.
It happens all the time. It happens.
Ultimately, it will come out that, okay, here's the reason why this show got pushed through, and the company just lost all this money. Or same thing with the record deal. Like, we're going to put all this promotion money and put this person on promo tours, spend all this money on producers and blah, 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 but this person's not really that talented.
Exactly. It happens all the time. People get record deals snatched from them because they're not that talented. But who put them in that position? Someone they were seeing. It happens all the time.
From your point of view,
okay,
how would you rate what's going on with Meek Mill and Drake?
Oh, the Meek and Drake situation, like, Meek and Drake should have never happened. I couldn't imagine wanting someone to tweet my latest project. Like, I've never asked anyone to do that. Right?
You never asked me.
I've never asked you, right? Like,
right.
I've never even asked you.
Yeah. You said just include a link in the interviews.
As part of the business, but I'm not gonna be like, hey dude, can you tweet I just don't. When people ask me to do that, I don't do it. Because I'm not gonna promote your stuff and not mine. Especially if it's right before, like, someone asked me to tweet out their book, but it was a week before my book came out. Yeah. So I'm not going to tweet your book. I'm just not going to. Okay. I'm not. If I'm reading a book and I like it, but I don't take requests. Okay. So it's a question that even as a woman, I wouldn't ask of anyone else. To me, if that is part of the root of how the Meek Mill Drake thing happened, that in itself is, but how old is Meek? Is he young? He seems very young.
They're both 28.
Okay, so to me, that's still kind of young. Because it seemed very childish, a little bit, like. So that was mistake number one. I just want to say, as a grown man, you don't need another grown man to validate your existence by tweeting out your stuff. And if he doesn't do it, then you get upset. It's just really, I don't know. I guess kids in junior high might be going through the same thing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Meek was upset, I remember, at Wale for not tweeting his album also. That was like a thing at one point.
All childish. All of it is high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have I would hope he has a publicist. I would hope you have a team of people who are pushing your album. It is no one else's job to push your album. It's no one else's job to push I don't go to my famous friends and say, hey, can you, I don't do that. I don't do that. Because it's just not what it's, come on. It's just weird. To me, it's weird. But then again, I'm someone who stands on my own merit. So I don't need other people to promote for me, nor do I care to ask anyone really for anything. I'm not an asker. I'm not a beggar of things. I just get shit done. Yep. So that's a little strange.
Meek did have the #1 album in the country, though.
Absolutely.
And it was his first #1 as well.
Without anyone doing it.
With no tweets.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is you stand on your own merit, you just get shit done, and you don't ask anybody for anything. The work speaks for itself. Nobody can deny the work. Just do the work. What you do is when you do that and you start asking questions, it makes you seem meek, and in a way, and actually kind of weakens your stand, versus someone like Drake, who is not going to go to someone and say, hey, dude, he's not going to do that. Not only is he going to put it out, he's going to put it out without you even noticing it's coming out. And it'll just hit the internet and everyone's going to download it anyway. You know what I mean? So I think when you appear to grovel, even if it's just a simple question, people can take that as groveling, and it weakens your leverage just in life, which is why I don't ask people for shit. I just fucking don't. Because then they'll go around talking about how much you ask them for something. You know what I mean? And you don't need to. You just don't need to. So that was unfortunate. And as far as the rap battle stuff goes, I am not like heavy into hip hop. I've never heard a Meek Mill song in my life, but everybody knows I'm a huge Drake fan. So I loved it, and it reminded me of Jay-Z and Nas. Really, people were pulling out like 50 Cent, Ja Rule beefs, but no, it wasn't the same. When Nas dropped Ether, right? Mm-hmm. It reminded me of when that's what I was reminded of when Drake dropped back to back. It was very Ether. It was very super dope, So I loved it. I loved it lyrically. I loved the business part of it. I loved seeing, again, psychology played a big part in the way Drake has and is still kind of running the show. I love he's a smart kid. He's a smart kid, obviously raised by a very smart woman, and I loved the thought and the business behind it, And I heard that diss record on the radio the other day, and I thought, wow, that's dope. That was just dope. So I hope it's over. I know Meek is still, doing stuff. I wish he'd stop,
You think he can stop at this point and actually recover?
I think it's best to just let bygones be bygones. Because his initial record, now I don't think that Meek's initial record was even that bad. I don't think it was that bad.
I think a lot of people bashed it initially, but once some time has passed, like for example, I just interviewed Obi Trice this afternoon. He told me that he thought Meek's record was way better than Drake's record. That was his opinion as a rapper.
I think Meek won, and I think that people that actually think Drake won, that Charged Up was whack as fuck to me. I didn't like that. I didn't like Back to Back. It really wasn't. The nigga ain't really saying shit. Like, niggas gotta listen to fucking Meek, man.
I didn't think that it was bad. I just felt that people will side with Drake because he sells more records, has more money, because he's cuter, because the girls like him more. It's all these other reasons I think that come into play. And sometimes it's not just talent alone. When I listened to Meek's record, I didn't think it was garbage. I just didn't. I just thought like, okay. And there were some real incidences in there, that I thought were
the T.I. peeing thing and
the piss. And I'm just like, well, who? If Drake's letting people pee on them, then I feel like I should have got a call. I want to be in that line. But yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I just feel like at some point though, I would let it go. I would let it go and let the work speak for itself. Just because you're not gonna win. I keep seeing, like, you know that scene in Rocky where Adrian's like at the side of the ring and she's like, you can't win. Like I feel like that's going on. I keep hearing that you can't win. Because it's not only about the music. It's about imagery. It's
Right.
about fandemonium and other things come into play.
So when you just said Drake's letting people pee on him, why didn't I get a call? Like, what do you mean by that?
Listen, if somebody like Drake is just letting people randomly pee on him, I need to get a phone call. I
Do you want to pee on Drake?
don't, Vlad.
I mean, I'm asking. I'm trying to figure this out.
I'm not gonna let that be the soundbite. No, you will not have me saying that.
Okay.
I was joking.
What do you mean then?
I was joking.
You're joking.
But, it came out that it wasn't, no one peed on Drake directly.
Okay.
The person was drunk in a theater, had just came home from vacation and just peed in a theater, and Drake just happened to be in the vicinity of the urination.
Right. The memes were going crazy. I remember there was an R. Kelly meme that said, "Oh, someone letting people pee on him?" Like he like put his glasses down, like already, like.
Yeah, it was, it was cute, but yeah.
So you and Bobby Brown were very close at one point.
Yeah. I'll let that. Yeah, I'll let that stand. Yeah.
Did you ever meet Bobby Christina?
No.
You did not.
No. I think I met all the other kids, except for her.
Okay.
Maybe all the other kids.
When you heard about that situation, Bobby Christina just passed, but she was in a coma for quite a while. Did you communicate with Bobby at all?
I did not. No. I don't talk to Bob. Bob wasn't a good person for my life. He wasn't a good person in my son's life. This is someone who would drive drunk with my son in the car with an open container, dropping him off to school. This is a dangerous person.
Like a beer, like a drink?
Beer, open, drunk already with an open beer in my Mercedes with my kid in the back going to school. And I wouldn't know until I went back in the car and saw the container and thought, you fucking shit.
Do you just leave it there afterwards?
Drunk people just leave shit everywhere. Okay. So, that wasn't, he wasn't a good person to me. And it wasn't a good person to me or my son at that time. Almost burnt my house down, smoking a pipe in my backyard and putting it out in a dry plant. And I wake up and the wall is singed, outside my bedroom, and thinking I was asleep and this whole house could have burnt down because someone wants to smoke a pipe in my backyard. So when someone isn't a good person to me or for me, I cut all ties. And even when tragedy happens in their lives, I don't look back. It's not my tragedy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So did you talk to him at all after Whitney died? Were you still cool with him at that point or no?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I stopped talking to Bob the day he slept on my couch.
When that video came out.
That was the last time I talked to him.
That was it.
That was it.
Gotcha.
It was meant to be it.
Amber Rose recently started a GoFundMe campaign for her slut walk. Mm-hmm. You heard about this?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Which I actually donated.
Mm-hmm.
She hit me up, donated. I'm cool with Amber, so I support what she does. How do you feel about slut shaming?
I mean, I've been really vocal about my ideas on slut shaming. You know what? It's really crazy to me that we're in 2015 and this is still even a concept. That a country and a society can come so far, but we're still so regressive in things like sexism and racism and all these things that seem to have gone back to the 50s. And it shows us how much we are not as progressive as we'd like to believe, and we are not the best country in the world. And there are a lot of things happening socially that are so disturbing. Slut shaming is so strange to me. How a woman could have the same sex a man is having, because literally she's having it with that man. So we're literally at the same time having sex together. And then when she gets up, she's this horrible person. And he's magnificent. And I've always, when I'm talking to universities and just to women's groups, I want them to really look at what this means. I'm amazing, so much so that you want to have sex with me. So here I am. And I give you the privilege of being with me, and you give me the honor of being with you. And then we do this thing together, and now I'm dirty. And then I go along my life and I do this with other men because that's what people do. You have sex with people as you're trying to figure out what you want, what kind of man you want, what kind of sex you want, what kind of lifestyle do you want, what kind of penis do you want? Do you want uncircumcised penis or circumcised penis? Do you want black penises or white penises, Asian penises, or what do you want? And you got to figure all these things out. And meanwhile, while the woman is doing all this figuring, the men are doing the same exact figuring because the men she's having sex with are also trying to figure it out. And then when you find what you want, then you settle in and you say, okay, found what I want. But except that at the end, that woman's disgusting. But all she did was have sex with men. So then my question is, and we're just talking heterosex here. We don't want to get into everything else right now, whatever. But speaking from experience and looking, I'm saying, okay, so men are telling me that other men are disgusting. So what you're saying to me is that if I have sex with you and people like you, it lessens my worth. Versus saying, if you have sex with me, you're a better person. Now you shine brighter. Now you're a queen. You've been touched by a king. Go about your life. Why don't men think more highly of themselves? So that when women come in contact with them, they see her now as being better off for having had that contact. Why is it that you don't see yourself as gods on earth, and that when you give the woman the privilege of sharing in your life in the most intimate way, she has now been blessed? Why is it that when she gives you that and you give her what you give her, you have dirtied her? And I think about how many men are, and I've seen it in comments and things, men say, and they've been being told for so long that they're dogs. And men have been being told for so long that they're no good and they're deadbeats and you don't make enough money and nah, nah, nah. And so you start to feel bad about yourself. So that now you come in contact with a woman and you feel like this dog has fucked her. And now she's not worthy of anybody else, of being loved at all, because a dog just ran through her. And all my homeboys were all dogs too. All my fellow men were all dogs too. But why don't you guys see yourself empowered? Why don't you guys see yourself as angels and gods on earth? Why don't you see halos around yourself? And why don't you think to yourself, girl, you are so lucky to have been touched by us? Me and homeboy down the street and whoever else or whatever, because men are amazing. Men are magic. Men are so important and so vital to society and the raising of our children and the teaching of our women. But you guys don't get told that enough. So then what happens is that you fill us with your anger and with your self-hatred. And then you want us to carry that shit. And it's called slut shaming. So I don't subscribe to that because I can do what I want. I have the right to do what I want with my body. I have the right to do it. I have the right to not do it. I have the right to make all the decisions I want and not be shamed for my decisions just because I'm a woman. Because truth be told, I'm not lesser than you, nor are we equal. I am just different. But at the same time, if you didn't have a woman to go home to, what would your life be like? So it's like you need us and we need you, but people aren't having this conversation. Women are so busy saying, I don't need no man. And it's like, let's just stop. We need each other. Right. We want each other. And a lot of us deserve each other.
Hip hop is sort of a weird place because you know, growing up in hip hop, you're told so many times, I don't love these hoes, money over bitches, and you kind of money hungry hoes. Like you kind of keep hearing this type of thing over and over again, and you start kind of being mistrustful of women in general, which has become sort of a counterproductive type of thing. You kind of create a cycle.
Yeah. So how is this music which initially was created to uplift its people? Because this is, first of all, African Americans don't have a culture. Okay, so let's just start there. That was ripped from them. Okay, as a West Indian girl born and raised on an island, I got my own music, I got my own food, we have our own language, we have our own thing. Okay, so when I came to this country, I realized that these people who look like me are very different because they don't have that. They were stripped of their original languages, of their original music, of their original religion, their original everything. So here you are in the slums in New York and someone creates a culture. We need something to believe in. We need something to listen to. We need something to empower us. And this is how it starts. We need to report what we're seeing. We need to let people know that we're out here and that we're aware of what's happening in the world. And this is how we're relaying this. And we're using indigenous things, indigenous beats and indigenous feelings and things that come from a place we've never been, Africa. And it's all very amazing. And then fast forward decades later, it's garbage. And you're actually tearing down every single person because you're making everyone feel as if they're nothing if they're not rich. You're making their women feel as if they are just nothing, period. And they can't be trusted and they can't be loved. And you're doing the same thing. So now you are your own slave master. So now you're doing the same thing a slave master did to your ancestors and making your sex dirty. You're making your sex for profit. And you're tearing apart families and you're creating distrust between man and woman during that and then selling it. So it's slavery. Hip hop is slavery. I don't listen to it. My son doesn't listen to it. It's not allowed in my house, in nothing.
Except for Drake.
Except for Drake.
Okay.
Drake ain't never hurt nobody, okay, except for Meek Mill. So, but I can't, as I've gotten older and as I've gotten more aware of what's happening in the world, I cannot allow anyone to talk to me that way. And I see what it's doing. And so to be able to speak positivity into the lives of young people and this culture is important. And at a time where really they should be getting together and making remember we had self-destruction and we had all these things back in the day we don't have anymore. Where's the new self-destruction? Where's the new tapes? Where is, like for instance, when the new NWA movie is coming out, right? When that music hit, everyone like me and other people who weren't in those areas were like, what are these guys talking about? This is angry music. But how apropos is it for the entire country right now? Because now we see it. We see it. It's all happening. When they were busy saying, fuck the police, some of us were saying, but the police in my neighborhood are great. Why are they so angry? But now it's like, yeah, fuck the police. Every single fucking last one of them people, fuck all of them. Because we're seeing them kill our people every single day. So all these things now make sense. So now my question is, we have all this political, social change happening, but the music doesn't change with it. And that's not what it was supposed to be here for.
Yeah, it's a lot less political these days.
And it needs to be more political.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all political, but we had people, and we still have people. We have Common, we have Nas, but it's like, I wish that there was more.
Public Enemy.
Oh, Public Enemy. I wish there was more of this that was allowed on airwaves. Yeah. I wish there was more of this allowed in talks. And I wish that artists would be brave enough to stand up and say, I'm not doing any more of this. Because this is, it's killing us, and it's tearing apart families and it's killing kids in the street. It's doing all that. Like, you're killing yourselves with your music, and it's crazy.
What does the word slut mean to you?
A slut doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything. I don't give it power. I don't give it meaning. It doesn't have definition. It doesn't exist.
You've been called that before.
I'm sure I have. Not to my face,
Right.
but I'm
But
sure I have.
in the comments and, that type of thing.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, words don't have power unless I say they have power. Nothing has power unless I say it has power. Words are what you say they are. The same exact thing here means something else somewhere else. So I choose to not give power to things and not allow words to upset me because they're simply made up. Ratchet wasn't a word, and now it's a word.
Well, it was a word.
Well, it was a word, but
It
not
didn't
with the
mean-
same meaning.
Didn't mean what it means now.
So it's like there were things that thought wasn't a word, and now it's a word. Like, it's just like these things didn't exist 2 years ago.
Yep.
Because someone sat down and made it up. Now it's going to mean something to me. I'm good.
I feel you. What are your thoughts on the Tiger controversy? The rumors about him and Mia Isabella, the transsexual.
Listen, I think that what a man does with his butthole is between him and his butthole, his tranny, and his Kardashian Jenner girlfriend. I just feel like that's personal, private information. I didn't need to know it. I feel like also, I'm not even upset with him. Like, if that's what you like to do, I'm not it. Like, I'm cool. Like, if your personal life is your personal life, right? If someone is bisexual, trisexual, likes to just try things, I don't know. This is what I know. This is what I do know for sure. I want people to stop releasing information on Instagram because that has come and gone. Tiger's going to be fine. And you did all of this and you didn't get any money really or at all. And you didn't make a business out of it and you didn't do anything. You did all this is what I mean. At least I built something. At least, if you want to start telling information, let's start with how you grew up and how you always felt like a girl and how you changed into that girl and now you're a girl and maybe she still has a penis. So I'm not really sure what the right pronoun is, but let's go and talk about this person's life story because I'm sure there's a lot of trauma and stuff there that we need to discuss before we even get to whose butthole you're sticking your penis in. Like, there's a lot of other questions I have. And I think that throwing things out on Instagram, trying to extort someone.
I don't know if it's extortion.
It is extortion.
Is it?
Yeah, because she was saying that she was waiting for her money or she's going to release a certain thing at a certain time.
I don't remember that.
I saw something about that. And that's why he got the FBI involved?
Well, okay, number one, the FBI is not involved. That was a rumor. Because I actually...
The Kardashians always get the FBI involved.
That's the rumor, but that's not what happened because I actually dug into this story.
Okay, so what did you find out?
What I found was that according to Mia Isabella's people, she did not release that.
Didn't release what?
Didn't release those text messages and photos and so forth like that.
Okay, she didn't do it.
She didn't do it.
Who did it?
They don't know.
A magical elf? Okay.
That's the story on their side.
Of course.
They were approached by lawyers and so forth.
Of course.
And of course, Tiger is now linked up to the Kardashians, so there's that whole thing in terms of what's going on. There was no FBI. There's nothing of that. She's not speaking about it publicly. One thing that her people told me that was kind of interesting though was that they said that Mia had been with much more powerful men, richer men than Tiger. So this is in her world, this is not even considered a big deal, and that she's remained private about.
Okay, so bullshit. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and call bullshit. Magical elves don't break into your phone and release text messages. If that was the case, the world would be feasting on all of the text messages in my phone, which by the way are super juicy. So,
okay. But people's phones get hacked. People's phones get hacked. I'm not saying every time it's a hack, but...
So you think someone hacked her phone and this is the best thing? If she's been with more powerful men, this is the best thing they could come up with and the only thing they can come up with? Call bullshit where you see bullshit. And he might not be the most powerful, but she said that she loved him. So now there's an emotional issue. It has nothing to do with money and power or whatever. You got your feelings hurt. And then you went out and you exposed someone, but you really just exposed yourself. And in 10 minutes, no one's gonna care because the next scandal is coming right behind yours. And no one's gonna remember this or care. Nobody even cares now. People care more about Drake and Meek than trannies and Tyga, because Tyga's not anybody we care about. That's why it's gonna go by in 10 minutes. The call bullshit where you see bullshit. And at the end of the day, you see women all the time now putting things out on, and you saw it before too, putting things out on the internet and just putting things out freely. I don't believe in free shit. I don't understand why everyone's putting shit out for free. This is crazy.
Recently, I don't know if you follow this story, hold on, but there's a porn star named Mia Khalifa
Okay.
who put out these DMs that an NFL player named Duke Williams was trying to holler at her. And she basically
I mean,
took the DMs, put them on Instagram. It became a whole thing. And, a lot of people felt that was a little strange because she does porn. I remember there was a meme we put up that said, "Won't do DMs, we'll do DPs."
I saw that. Yeah, you know what? Not everyone, but like people like her, people like me, our DMs are flooded. I've met a lot of people through my DMs, really. Ball players and people in commerce, and that's how people kind of meet each other. I looked at my DMs earlier today and I should delete some DMs. Like, oh, I hope nobody breaks into my Twitter because these DMs are crazy. So I just think it's sad. I just feel like, first of all, everyone has a story. So whenever a woman goes for that angle, I'm concerned more so about her and what's happening with her and the trauma that she's dealing with internally and the confusion and all the things that are happening in her head. Because first of all, you don't become a porn star because everything's okay with you. Okay? And so there's something wrong. And so I would want to, I'm more interested in a woman's backstory and how she got to this place,
Right.
versus, and maybe how you met that person and how that person affected your life and what happened. I'd rather see a biography from a woman who has lived a life that others may not agree with, versus to see her play herself by trying to play somebody else.
I've talked to a lot of porn girls, and
I've noticed.
right, and occasionally you do get the one that says that she came from a cool household and this is just what she wants to do and so forth. But the majority of them had pretty tough times growing up. We interviewed Jenna Ivory, who had been in 47 foster homes by the time she turned 18. We interviewed Misty Stone, who was raped by her father at 6 years old. There's a lot of stories like this in the porn industry.
Right.
And you ended up doing one porn scene yourself
Absolutely.
at one point. So you're speaking from experience.
Yeah, you don't do certain things usually unless something is wrong. And even for those who say that everything was great, there's usually still something wrong.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's something that didn't go right.
Now, did the show actually air yet? Botched? Or no?
Botched. I ended up not doing Botched.
You ended up not doing Botched?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember at one point you were going to do Botched.
Yes, I was going to do Botched. I met with the doctor. I got all the meds. They give you all this medication before your surgery. So like a week before the surgery, I had like all this medicine. I met Dr. Dubrow, lovely, and his staff, amazing, out in Orange County. But then I had a falling out with the producers over location of the house. Frankly, they wanted to rent me. I guess it's a cool house for someone else. It's just not a cool house for me.
Okay. So the house that you were supposed to be living in,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
Yeah, because we can't film at my place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was in Culver City. Listen. It just wasn't, it didn't look like somewhere I would live. Okay. And it was too far away also. My son had finals that week. And it was from Culver City, it's like basically from the valley to Culver City, 9:00 in the morning. My kid has finals. Yeah. They wanted the kid to come. I was like, let's just leave him so he can do finals. It was just a big thing. It was too far and the house was just too sparse. and it was just too. It was like, to me, it was ghetto. I thought it was ghetto. They thought it was nice, but everyone's ideals are different.
Okay.
It was ghetto to me.
But you actually went and did the surgery.
No, I didn't have the surgery.
You didn't have the surgery?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that fell apart. The production company was mad at me because I wouldn't show up to the place, but I couldn't. And that was it. So I never had the surgery.
Okay. So
These are just my actual boobs. They're bigger now because pregnancy. So I don't know whether they're ever going to go down though. It's been a while and they're not going down yet.
But isn't there an unofficial rule that you have to get your breasts redone after, was it 10 years or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I was going to have them redone on the show. Because I've had my breasts, my implants, since my son was 6 months old. So 17 years I've had them.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're way past the
Yeah.
recommended, I guess.
Yeah. So Dr. Dubrow was going to take out my implants, which are saline, replace them with silicone, which is now safer, and gel. And usually women have uneven breasts naturally. One is always different than the other, kind of like eyebrows. One's always different than the other.
Okay.
So he was going to make them perfectly uniform and change my implants because they are 17 years old.
Okay. Are you still going to go forward with it? Or?
I am. I'm glad that I didn't, because then I ended up pregnant. So my breasts are changing again. So, and then we have to talk about whether we're going to try again and when that's going to happen. And you don't want it to be too soon after surgery or, whatever. So we'll figure all that out. I keep looking at them because I think they look better than before, but again, these are pregnancy boobs. So.
Well, you had plastic surgery 17 years ago.
Yes.
Right? Now, plastic surgery these days is doing things that were not even remotely possible 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. You were seeing women sculpt their bodies in all new different types of ways.
Yes.
Both legally and illegally.
Yes.
As someone who's had plastic surgery, what is your take on all this?
Well, I mean, I had my breast augmented after my son, right? Yeah. And that's all I've ever had. This is LA too, so we see like a lot of stuff in this place. I don't like fake bodies per se. Like I don't like I don't like things that look too artificial. I'm okay with breast. I've seen some butts that are decent, but then when girls go too far, I think it becomes, I don't know. It's kind of a deformity at some point, especially like facial stuff. You have to be really careful with that. So I've seen some faces that you're just like, just stop. Some surgery is really, really good. I love what Nene Leakes did to her face, her nose. I think dental surgery is necessary for a lot of us, especially as we get older and our teeth start to change and weaken or whatever. Some caps look great, some look whatever. I think tastefulness is really important. Good doctors that have done good work on other people that you've seen. References are really, really important. I think modesty is always good in plastic surgery. Some doctors don't practice modesty and some patients don't really know what they want either. So they just go for a lot. I don't like the big old fake butt. I just don't like the way that looks. The skinny legs and the big old fake butts and I just don't like it.
Yeah, and women are actually dying.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
I've seen another case. Yeah, and what's interesting, we actually put up a story about this guy who was pretending to be a surgeon that ended up, I guess, doing a penis augmentation on a guy and like leaving him with like a 1-inch penis. Like,
I saw that the other day.
So I guess it's, I guess the fellows are sort of joining into this nonsense.
Some
here.
people do need penis augmentations though, for real.
You think so?
Yes, some of y'all need extensions.